Okay.
All right.
I have a question for the gentleman on the panel. Boxers or briefs?
Boxes are brief, gentlemen.
You mean during the making of the Evil Dead?
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
or now?
Let's be historically correct. During the
Commando.
Oh, good God.
Does anybody want to use this chair?
This gentleman had a question.
So first, I think a lot of people here are probably not sold on the idea of the remake.
Probably a lot of people here are not sold on the remake.
Here's what you said in the tweet a while back.
Who's you? Who is you? Who are you referring to?
Bruce, believe in the remake, dog. The project is real, in the works, cool as hell, scary as hell. Can you elaborate on that? Maybe sell us on the remake?
I don't need to do jack shit. Honestly, I'll tell you, part of it is we sat back and we watched every other horror franchise going through 8, 9 versions, sequels, remakes of the sequels of the remakes. It's getting so ridiculous that we've got investors who are dying now. This project has been around so long. And we wanted to give sort of a parting gift to them and to have a new approach at a movie that wasn't shot in 16 millimeter where you can't see the garden hoses spewing the blood. Something where maybe we don't go digital crazy, but it's a little more sophisticated telling of not the exact same story, but a similar story. Pretty much the remake is going to be more like a different group of kids experiencing a different sort of nightmare. It's as though the book wound up in another lap of some 4 or 5 unsuspecting miserable bastards. So, you know, it's just updating. That's really all it is. We will be heavily involved in it. Sam Raimi handpicked Fede Alvarez to direct it. You can watch his work. He did a great little short movie called Panic Attack on YouTube. It's a very simple thing of robots attacking a city that he made on his own. He's a Uruguayan filmmaker. It went viral. He had studio offers within 10 days from Spielberg, from everybody. Sam Raimi made a deal with him to develop another movie entirely about aliens attacking the world that they're still developing. But in the meantime, this script came up, and Sam handpicked him. So it's not like we're just tossing this thing out and farting out a sequel, you know, or a remake. It'll be kind of a handmade movie with a young filmmaker who is more experienced than we were when we made the first one. We'll be casting more experienced actors than we had. So I don't see how it could be any worse.
To talk about this experienced actor thing.
None of us were experienced during the first Evil Dead, myself included. But that's the whole point. We'll be getting actors who hopefully are not known, like the first Evil Dead, so that you won't prejudge them. Whatever.
Thank you. Who said that?
So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll give you some money afterwards. How about the hat? Striped shirt, yeah.
Since we're looking at idea of the new People Dead and the new characters, would you guys want a hand in help picking the new rendition of your own characters?
We don't have currently there's no person-for-person correlation that you can make. There's no Ash.
Shelley probably.
There's no Ash in the remake.
I would like to discuss this a little bit. Because I have a daughter who's an actress. I've been nudging Bruce about this for weeks.
Does she like trees?
So, her name is Bud, but she's a budding actress, yes. No, and actually, don't you think it would be cool if my daughter, the NYU trained actress, played my role, or played a role in the film? Okay, so all 50 people here think that it should happen, so it should happen. Just saying.
I would like to ask another question. How much of H.G.
You're just plowing ahead, aren't you?
How much of H.G. Lovecraft work was influential in the first Evil Dead?
Well, when I first wrote the script for Evil Dead, I said to myself, what influence could I use? H.P. Lovecraft? A little of this, a little of that. How about that, sir? Because you're asking a question that nobody here is qualified to answer.
I brought up the H.P. Lovecraft, not H.G., that's H.G. Lewis, the other guy. But I brought up the Lovecraft thing, and I mentioned that the Book of the Dead is similar to the Necronomicon, although I really don't like it being called the Necronomicon, because that's Lovecraft's creation. Mine's something else.
What would you call yours?
Tom Sullivan's Book of the Dead. And, Sam, I don't think was all that familiar with Lovecraft. I know he hadn't read anything, at least at that point. And there was another link with Equinox, the film, because there's a couple of kids on the cabin in the woods and being torn apart by supernatural forces. So there's an evil book in it that is kind of described in the script, that similar to Sam's book in the script, which was ancient, some kind of animal skin with some letters from an ancient I came up with my own version.
White Glove.
Yeah, White Glove. Let's go with that.
Now that the trees have been brought up, I've heard people say that scene was a mistake. I think there was an interview with Sam Raimi who said that scene was a mistake. What do you guys think, and how is it to shoot?
It was a big fucking mistake.
But how can it be a mistake? Oops, I didn't mean to rape her with a tree. I mean, what? I don't know about that one.
I would say mistake isn't the word. I would say, well, it wasn't necessarily initially meant to have the sexual component as far as I knew, or as far as it said in the script. It just kind of evolved, right, Bruce?
I think it did, because I don't think in the original draft there was a moaning and legs going, hoy, 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 hoy.
No, I think in the script it said, Cheryl is attacked by the trees. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
Next thing she knew, vines were wrapping around her boot.
I didn't think anybody was ever going to see it, but I didn't care.
My kids will never see this movie.
During the beginning of Evil Dead 2 down in Wadesboro, we screened Evil Dead for the entire crew, so everybody kind of who hadn't seen it would be up to speed on it. And I sat next to Sam Raimi, and when the tree rape scene came up, he planted his head in his hands and said, "Why did I turn it into pornography?" And, that might answer.
Yeah.
Here's one right dead front.
How about a reality show where all the original cast members from Evil Dead live in the same house? Like,
Yeah, you're talking about a reality show where all the original Evil Dead cast members live in a cabin.
Good
Again.
idea.
Yeah, you just don't get your day job, do you? Yes, over here on the side.
Mr. Campbell, could you explain the process of creating an image of terror on your face over and over?
Could I explain that process? Like how to stand up, sir. How would you do it if I said?
That's perfect.
That's basically it. Holy shit, that was good. They kind of freaked me out a little bit.
I think he could be in the remake.
Wait a second.
I think so.
With Ellen's daughter. Only this time the guy gets raped by the tree. Yeah, everybody's an actor. Okay, yes, Stripey.
Stand up straight.
Please stand up, please.
Question for Betsy.
Are you standing?
That was just unnecessary,
It's a
wasn't it?
legitimate question.
But seriously, are you standing?
I was wondering, Betsy, how long it took you to practice your evil laugh?
And will you do it for the audience?
It didn't take long at all because it's something of an innate talent.
Now, Betsy and Tom, you guys can address this. When you were the Cupid doll at one point, but when we first filmed you, you were more of like a gray-faced horror hag that I dragged out because we shot it out of sequence.
That's right.
I think us dragging you out was the first thing we filmed of that.
And we had
and it was a
mask
different beast. And so later you were more like a Cupid doll. So I wonder what that evolution was.
Well, Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, well, originally the idea is there are black veins radiating out from her eyes, and she's got that pasty face and the white eyelids, or that white eyelids, and or eyeballs, I guess. And the concept became later that the characters were going to be more or less caricatures of their characters, where Cheryl is the whiny, unhappy witch, as it were.
I see.
Not at all.
And then you became the radiated out black vein thing, and because you're so beautiful, we had to just sweep your skin. And Betsy became the idealized girlfriend of Ash, because he's so shy with her. You know, Scotty and Shelley are just peeling it off and then slam him. But
They're gonna slam.
Let me go ahead and answer that question.
And so the idealized. And I made a cast of.
I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. I believe last century you asked me, how long did it take to get that amazing laugh? And yeah, it wasn't long at all because
Innate talent.
I actually have a high-pitched voice, except early in the morning. And so I did, and it is true, Bruce is correct, that at the very beginning, if you'll look carefully, one of the first times he dragged me across the room, I have a latex mask on. And I went home that night because it itched, and it just was really bothersome, and I hated making a mask, and I said, something's got to change here. So I actually went to Sam one night, and I said, Sam, I'd like to discuss the character of Linda. And I said, I think Linda should go even sweeter and sicklier sweeter than she already is supposed to be, which was Bruce's girlfriend, like, yeah, let's go that way. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. To me, it's already obnoxious. So he listened to me, and we talked about it, and I said, if we take the mask off and we just try and draw a porcelain baby doll, and I'll try and make my voice higher. He says, well, let me hear it. I went, well, I could just do something like this. And this is truly what happened. And Sam was in the corner like, that's good. And that's how it happened. That's the truth. Because I just did not want to wear that mask.
Somebody came to our table yesterday and has that laugh as their ringtone.
Horrifying.
It's you. It's you.
Hey, your phone's ringing.